Hi, good day. Today we will be discussing about electricity. The objectives of this session are the following. At the end of the lesson, you are able to define electric charge, compute for the net electric charge, describe how charge imbalance or net charge separation occurs, determine how static electricity works, differentiate conventional current flow and electron flow, and differentiate direct current and alternating current. Let's have a review. Last time we discussed about light, heat, temperature. In light, we discussed about refraction. When we say refraction, it is the bending of light. We also discussed about the dispersion, which is the splitting of white light into different colors. We discussed also the relationship of wavelength and energy, wherein the shorter the wavelength, the higher energy it possesses. On the other hand, the longer the wavelength, the lesser energy it has. We have also discussed the difference for the energy and the wavelength of the colors in the spectrum. The energy of the red color is lesser compared to the energy of the violet color because the wavelength of the violet color is shorter compared to the wavelength of the red color. We discussed also about heat as an energy that transfers from higher temperature to lower temperature. When we say temperature, it refers to the hotness and coldness of an object. We can use thermometer to measure the temperature. We discussed also that the liquid inside the thermometer increases or expands due to the fast movement of liquid particles at high temperature. And we also noticed that liquid inside the thermometer decreases or contracts due to the slow movement of liquid particles at low temperature. In the previous year, during your grade 7, we discussed electricity, its sources and uses. You also discussed or learned the materials which are good conductors and which are not. You have also learned what makes up an electric circuit, how electrical energy is transferred and transformed into other forms of energy. Let's start with atom. When we say atom, these are the microscopic building blocks of all matter, and matter is anything that occupies a space and has mass. Aside from that, atoms are composed of subatomic particles which are the proton, electron, and neutron. This is an example of atomic structure model. As you can see, protons and neutrons are inside the nucleus, while the electrons are moving freely in their own orbit. Now let's have the electric charge. When we say electric charge, it is the charge that carries by the subatomic particles. For the proton, let us have again this atomic structure. Okay, so as you can see, there is a sign there in the proton. So what do you think is the electric charge of the proton? Correct, it is positive. How about the electron? What charge it carries? Correct, it is negative. How about for neutron? Correct, there is no charge carried by this neutron. Now let's have the net electric charge. Net electric charge is the total amount of charged protons and electrons in an atom. Let's have an example here. Okay, from the first example that we have 2 protons and 1 electron. So for the net electric charge, we can have plus 2 because we have 2 protons, and remember that protons carried positive charge. Okay, plus 1, which is the number of electron, and it carries negative charge. So therefore we have this equation. So plus 2 plus negative 1 is equal to, what is the answer? Correct, it is positive 1. So with this, what is the electric charge of an atom? Okay, very good, it is positive. Then for the next example, we have 2 protons and 2 electrons. What will be the net electric charge? Correct, it is positive 2 plus negative 2. What will be the result? Okay, correct, it is 0. Is there electric charge with this? Very good, there is no charge. Electric charge is 0. Or you can say that the atom having this equal number of protons and number of electrons is neutral. The third example, we have 2 protons and 3 electrons. So what will be the net electric charge? Great, it is plus 2 plus negative 3. So the result will be correct, negative 1. So with that, what is the electric charge? Very good, it is negative. Now let's have your activity. Please open your module on page 23. Look for activity number 1. The title is that.
Let's make it easy. Okay, so the part 1 is to complete the conceptual map. Okay,
Write your answer in your notebook. Okay, don't forget to write activity number 1. Let's make it part A. Okay, just write the answers only. Then do not forget also to write your name and section. Alright. So for number 1, blank is anything that occupies space and has mass. Okay, so please write your answer in your notebook. Okay, so what is your answer? If your answer is matter, then you are correct. Okay, next. Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. It is composed of molecules, which is the smallest unit of a substance. And it is also composed of blank, which is the smallest unit of an element. So please write your answer in your notebook. Okay, what is your answer? If your answer is atom or atoms, then you are correct. Okay? Atoms, which is the smallest unit of an element, is composed of subatomic particles. So let's have number 3. Blank has a positive charge with a symbol of P plus with a mass of 1 atomic mass unit located at nucleus. Write your answer in your notebook. What is your answer? Very good. It is proton or protons. Next, number 4. Blank has no charge with the symbol of N0 with a mass of 1 atomic mass unit located at nucleus. Write your answer in your notebook. What is your answer? Correct. It is neutron or neutrons. Next, for number 5, blank has a negative charge with the symbol of E negative with a mass of 0.0005 atomic mass unit orbiting outside the nucleus. Write your answer in your notebook. What is your answer? Great, it is electron or electrons. Take note, for a neutral atom, the net electric charge must be 0. Otherwise, it will become positively or negatively charged atoms. Next, for part letter B, let's analyze the picture. Okay, we have here scale A, scale B, and scale C. So each scale has different numbers of protons and different numbers of electrons. Now, let's identify the number of protons, number of electrons, net electric charge, and the electric charge for each scale. I want you to copy the table in your notebook and then write the answer for each column. Okay, I think you're ready now. So let's start for scale letter A. Please analyze how many numbers of protons and number of electrons this scale letter A has. So kindly write your answer here. How many number of protons? Write it down in your notebook. Okay, are you done? Okay, next. Count the number of electrons. Write it down. Alright, so let us check your work. So for scale letter A, the number of protons are, if your answer is 5, then you are correct. Then for the number of electrons, how many it is? Or how many number of electrons it has? Correct, it's 3. Now, let's have the net electric charge. Same thing with how we answered the previous example. So we have here plus 5 plus negative 3 because the number of electrons is carries negative charge and the protons carries the positive charge. So therefore, we have positive 5 plus negative 3. The answer will be, write your answer in your notebook. Okay, correct. So the answer here is positive 2. So now, what is the electric charge? Write your answer here. Is it positive, negative, or neutral? Okay, if your answer is positive, then you are correct. Now, let's move on with letter B, scale letter B. Write down how many number of protons that you can see in scale letter B. Write it down. Next, how many number of electrons can you see? Please write it here in the second column. Okay, now let's check your work. For the number of protons, how many can you see in this scale? Okay, correct. It is 5. For the number of electrons, how many? Correct. It is also 5. Now, let's have the net electric charge. So, let's do the same. Okay, so we have plus 5 plus negative 5. Okay, remember these charge or these symbols or these signs from the subparticles that we have. So, again, for the protons, it has positive sign. Okay, and then for the electrons, okay, they have negative sign. So that is the reason why we have this equation here. Okay, so what will be the answer for this? Plus 5 plus negative 5. The answer is, write your answer in your notebook. Okay, so what is your answer? Very good, it is 0. So therefore, what will be the electric charge? Is it positive, negative, or neutral? Write your answer. What is your answer? Correct, it is neutral. Then for letter C, scale letter C, please write down how many protons that you can see in scale letter C. Okay, next. How many number of electrons can you see? Write it down. Okay, so let's check your answer. For the number of protons, how many? Very good, it is 3. For number of electrons, correct, it's 5. So let's have an equation for the net electric charge. We have plus 3 because we have 3 protons, and minus 5 or negative 5 because we have 5 electrons here. So if you're going to add this, what will be the answer? Okay, correct. The answer is negative 2. Therefore, the electric charge will be, write your answer in your notebook. The answer here is, very good, it's negative. Okay, so another thing that I want you to remember is that even though we do not have this column, we can identify the electric charge possessed by the given atom. Like for example here, how many protons do we have here? 5. And we have only 3 electrons. So which subparticles has a greater number? Is it protons or the electrons? Correct, it is the protons. And what is the charge of the proton? Correct, it is positive. So therefore, in this scale, we can see that there is a greater number of proton. Therefore, the electric charge is positive. Okay? And then for scale letter B, as you can see, the number of protons and the number of electrons are the same. So therefore, they have no charge. They are considered as neutral atom. Okay? Then for scale letter C, as you can see, we have lesser number of proton and greater number of electrons. So if we have greater number of electrons with negative charge, therefore the electric charge of that atom is negative. Okay? Now let's answer the guided questions. I want you to write your answer in your notebook. No need to copy the questions. Okay? So for number 1, based on the table that we have, this is based on the answers that we have earlier. Okay? For number 1, what do you think will be the electric charge of scale A as the protons have greater in the number than electrons? Again, what do you think will be the electric charge of scale A, okay, if as the number of protons have greater in number than electrons? So ano yung charge niya? Positive, negative, or neutral? Write your answer in your notebook. Okay, are you done? Okay, so what is your answer? Okay, so the answer here is the electric charge of scale A as the protons have greater in number than electron is positive. So if your answer is positive, you got it right. Number 2, what do you think will be the electric charge of scale B if the numbers of protons and electrons are equal? Again, what do you think will be the electric charge of scale B if the numbers of protons and electrons are equal? The answer is already there in the table. Okay, write your answer in your notebook. Okay, so what is your answer? Okay, so the answer is the electric charge of scale B if the numbers of protons and electrons are equal is neutral. Okay? If your answer is neutral, then you are correct. Next question, under number 2, what do you think will be the electric charge of scale C as the atom gains more electrons? In scale letter C, again, what will be the electric charge of scale C as the atom gains more electron? Okay, write your answer in your notebook. Alright, so what is your answer? Okay, correct. The answer is the electric charge of scale C as the atom gains more electrons is negative. Okay, if your answer is negative, then you are correct. Then number 3, is there charge imbalance or net charge separation in scale B? Why or why not? Again, take a look at the number of protons and electrons. Is there charge imbalance? When we say imbalance, not equal. Okay? Or there is net charge separation. Meron po bang unequal or imbalance? Write your answer. Is there yes or no? And then, whatever your answer is, explain the reason why. Okay, are you done? So for number 3, the answer here is no. Why? Because number of protons and electrons are equal. So as simple as that. Okay? As you can see, we have 5 protons here and 5 electrons, so therefore they are equal. So there is no imbalance here in terms of the charge here. Okay? Now number 4, what do scale A and scale C suggest as the number of electrons become unequal in a neutral atom? What do scale A and C suggest as the number of electrons become unequal in neutral atom? Remember, in neutral atom, the number of proton and number of electrons are equal. So in the case of scale A and scale C, the number of electrons and protons are not equal. So what do these two scales suggest? So please type your answer or write your answer in your notebook. They form what? We have here 2 words. You can have start with letter E. Okay. Okay, so let's check. The answer here is, okay, electric charge is formed due to imbalance in the number of protons and electrons. Okay. So last year, your science teacher also taught about like charges repel. When we say repel, they don't attract to each other. Okay, while unlike charges attract each other. So we have this as the electrostatic force. Okay. Now, let us have the static electricity. When we say static electricity, now there's something to do with the electrostatic force that we have earlier. Okay, it is the election of electrically charged particles on the surface of a material. So as you can see in our example images here, the hair, some of the hair strands are being attracted to the surface of the balloon. On the other side naman po, we have here the plastic pole and the bunch of pieces of papers are being attracted to the surface of the plastic pole. Okay, so that is the static electricity. Now let's have the activity. In this activity, it is all coming back and learned now. It is on page 25 of your science module. You're going to determine how that electricity works. Okay, so here are the procedure. I want you to get a plastic comb and of course your dry hair. Okay, and a small piece of paper. Okay, if you have your puncher with you, you can use the puncher. Alright, so number 1, tear your paper into smaller pieces and leave them on a flat surface, or you may use the hole puncher to punch many bits of paper. Okay, tiny papers. Okay, next, for number 2, quickly rub or comb your dry hair for about 15-20 seconds with your plastic comb. Okay, next, quickly lower the comb to the bits of paper. Observe what happened to the pieces of paper. Okay, and then number 4, count the pieces of paper attached to the comb. Okay, so now let's answer the guided questions. Number 1, how many pieces of paper are attached to your comb? Okay, write your answer in your notebook. Do not forget to write activity number 2. Okay, no need to write the question, just answer it. Okay, next, number 2, how is it possible that the comb can attract pieces of paper? Write your answer in your notebook. Okay, so let's answer it. Now, when we rub things to another thing po, no? Like for example, the comb and your hair, okay? So they both po ba equal yung kanilang mga charges. So, habang nirarab yung suklay doon sa buhok, okay? Some of the particles are being transferred, especially the electrons. Electrons are being transferred. It can be the electrons of the hair transferred to the surface of the comb, or another way around. The electrons of the comb are being transferred to the hair. So therefore, it's either the comb or the hair loses the electron. That is the reason why. Again, this happens because the charged comb induces an opposite charge in the paper, and as opposite charges attract, the paper sticks to the comb. Okay? Then number 3, as you rub the comb to your hair, do you think they still have equal number of positively and negatively charged particles, or simply electrically neutral? Okay, write your answer. Yes or no lang po ang sagot dyan. Okay, let's see the answer. Okay, the answer here is no. Why? Because when a comb is run through your hair, charges pass between your hair and the comb. Okay? Yun nabanggit ko kanina. So, the comb becomes charged either positively or negatively, and the hair oppositely charged. Now, do you think the electric charges in the plastic comb can flow through the earth? So, what will happen to the charges into the comb? Yes or no? Write your answer in your paper. And then for the next question, so what will happen to the charges into the comb? Okay, let's check your work. Remember that plastic is not good conductor of electricity. And we call that as insulator. So, hindi magpo-flow yung electricity doon sa plastic comb. Therefore, it cannot flow through the earth. Okay? So the answer here is no, because it is an insulator. So the charges will remain into the comb. The number 5, do you think a metallic aluminum comb can attract the pieces of paper? Yes or no? And then explain why. Okay, let's check your work. Again, do you think a metallic aluminum comb can attract pieces of paper? Okay, so let's see the answer. The answer here is no. Why? Since metal is a conductor, the charges will flow to the earth through the body. Okay? And it will lose its charge. That's what we have here. But if the metal comb has an insulating plastic handle, it will retain its charge. Next activity, number 3. Okay, write it in your notebook. Activity number 3, spot the difference. I want you to differentiate what you have seen in our screen. Okay, we have a conventional current and electron current. So analyze these two. What have you noticed? Write your answer in your notebook. I am going to give you a clue. Look at the arrow. Okay. Okay, let's answer. So in conventional current, the current flows out of the positive terminal, from the positive terminal to negative terminal of the source. The source can be battery. Okay? So yan. And then on the other hand, okay, it is the opposite one. So the current flows out of the negative terminal going to the positive terminal of the source. Okay? Next, direct current and alternating current. What have you noticed with the flow of the current? The flow of the current is, write your answer and then write your answer in your notebook. And then for the alternating current, what have you noticed with the flow of the electricity? Okay, let us answer. Yan. So the electrical current here in direct current flows consistently in one direction, while in alternating, so here the direction of the flow of electrons switches back and forth at regular intervals of cycle. Example po ng mga direct current, we have flashlight, cell phone, yun po kasi they have the sources and direct lang po. Okay, mula sa battery, papunta sa screen ng inyong phone, and then yun lang. Okay, direct, continuous. One direction. Unlike in alternating current, ang mga example natin dito ay yung ref, washing machine, oven, any machine na nakakonect sa kuryente, ayan po. Okay? Yung mapapansin nyo po pag nagpa-plansya, di po ba? Biglang kumukurap, di po ba, yung kuryente. Sinasabi nila na lakas makahatak ng kuryente. Minsan pa nga pinapapatay yung TV, di po ba? Ayan. Kasi nga, in alternating current, the flow of electrons switches back and forth. And normally, in our house, we use alternating current. Ayan po. Okay, so after that, for your assessment, number 2, title is electricity. Okay, kapag po send yung inyong gawa, it should be in this format. Write first the assessment. Number 2, electricity, the title of the assessment. And then after that, write your name and section. And then, read the direction in your notebook, copy, and complete the following. So from number 1 to number 5, copy everything and then complete the phrases. Number 1, I learned that electric charges blank. Number 2, the net electric charge is positive if, it is negative if, and no charge if. Okay, then number 3, the difference between conventional current flow and electron flow state. And then 4, alternating current is, while direct current is, ayan, kumpletuhin din po. And then number 5, aside from what I have stated above, I also learned that, okay, so yun po. Okay, so I want you to capture all your work from activity number 1 to activity number 3 and then upload that to the post about the task number 6 in our Google Classroom, and then capture your work here in assessment number 2, and then upload this to my post in our Google Classroom for assessment number 2. Again, do not forget to write your name and section before taking picture of your work, and then please click turn in or hand in to submit your work. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much and see you next meeting.